Hey guys, Perlane from TeamLiquid.net here with Esports John, Inimical, and Mid-Seasons, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the playoffs that are coming up this weekend. Kind of seeing, where do we think it's going to go, who's going to make it through, and just talking about each region, NA, China, Europe, and Korea, and just jumping right into it. We're going to start with North America. And Kurt, I want to talk to you a little bit about Team 8. Do you think they can qualify? Would you consider them qualifying to be an upset? Them and Gale Force, who do you think is going to win out there?
Yeah, I actually think Team 8's going to qualify. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to go all 5 games. GFE just, they're notorious for kind of struggling in high-pressure situations, just kind of as a team for the last year. Like, no matter who's kind of on the roster, it's just kind of how they are. I think they're looking for a coach too, actually. But anyway, so I think Team 8 is just, I think they're a solid team. I think Glaurung is amazing. His hero pool cannot be punished the way it could have been, a few months ago. And even if it does, like, his shot calling is still probably the best shot calling in NA. So I give Team 8 the edge, like 100%.
And who do you think, if anybody, in North America has a chance to maybe upset even Gale Force and Team 8?
I don't know if it's going to come to that, but I would say probably Team Freedom is the best shot. I think B-Step's struggling a little bit. That's going to be the first match of the playoffs. I like Freedom a lot. I think they've got a lot of potential. I think, the gears are all turning. They're not necessarily all turning the same way at the same time all the time, but when they do click, these guys are pretty solid. Like, they can look to the form of like a Tempo Storm or a Team 8 when they have a good day. And that's all it's going to take for this playoff system as well. So, and I think if they beat B-Step, I think maybe they'll struggle against Superstars, but I think they can still take out Superstars, because Superstars are just kind of like, they're lukewarm to me. They're not,
right,
they're
sure.
not, they're not hot, they're not cold. They're just kind of like,
Right. Well, okay, so kind of jumping across the world here, going over to China. China, probably the least known of all 4 regions to your casual viewer. Luckily, we have Fernando, who watches hours and hours of their streams. So,
yeah,
Fernando, CE, who are they? Where they come from? How are they first place?
Yeah, CE was one of the qualifying teams from last Gold League, and they started this season with a win against X Team, which gave them a 1-0 on the first day, same as E-Stars 1-0 on the first day. And then the 2 teams just continued going undefeated until they finally faced each other. And then CE was able to 3-0 E-Star, surprising everybody. And some people might call it lucky. The series was really close. I don't think either team threw. I think they're just really equally matched.
And those 2 teams, though, like, in other regions, there's kind of a big gap between the elite and the subpar, or they're just not elite. But as a region as a whole, China, do you think that they have a chance? Should they, with the teams that they have qualified for the midseason brawl, do they have a chance against Korea, Europe, North America? Where do you think they kind of land in the global power ranking?
I think China is pretty comparable to EU. They have good map awareness. They have really interesting macro strategies, and they have really diverse drafts and also talent builds. You'll see different talent builds out of China, even when the draft looks really standard. And China has the most, within the region, the closest rankings of the teams. There were 2 win triangles. The top 3 all beat each other, and then the middle 3 all beat each other.
Right.
So there's not the same gap that exists that you'll see in places like Korea, or even NA, where the top teams
in Korea, you
above.
have your like Blossom and Raven that just, if they're playing anybody else, they lose. There's nothing like that happening in China.
There were 2 teams that were sort of free, Soa and started over again and keep it simple. Soa lost to everybody except Kiss.
Sure.
But so discounting the bottom 2, everyone else in the top 6 was really close with each other.
Cool. So you said they're sort of like EU, so let's kind of jump over to EU. And Chris, we have the big 3. Anybody else have a chance really against Fnatic, Dig, or TL?
No.
Just straight up.
That's
no.
basically it.
Why? What's like the separation problem there?
The biggest thing that separates Dig and Fnatic and Team Liquid from everyone else is their consistency. Fnatic in particular has been very consistent over the last year or so. And even Dignitas, when they were struggling with Zalea at the beginning of the season, managed to tie it together and stay pretty consistent throughout the entire season. So that's one of those things that the lower teams don't possess. On a good day, Tricked Esport is as good as any of the top teams. Even B Genius showed that they could be one of the top teams on a good day, but none of the other teams in the region just have that sort of consistency where they play a good game every day.
So, you're talking about Fnatic, and we know, like, at BlizzCon, they beat out, MVP Black. So kind of jumping back over to you, Fernando, talking about Korea, MVP Black, how do you think they're doing? Do you think they can beat L5?
I think they might. This isn't the same legendary MVP Black roster. They had a lot of changes at the beginning of the year, but their new players have been getting better and better, and I think that they're looking almost as good as they ever have. In the first round robin, L5 3-0'd them. And in the second round robin, Black led 2-0, and then L5 had to reverse sweep them. So every time they go up against L5, they do better and better. So I think that as undefeated as L5 has been, I think Black is very close to being as strong as they ever have been. And I think that's going to be a very even heat moving forward.
Kind of looking still at Korea, I joked a minute ago about Blossom and about Raven being these free wins. But if you put Blossom or Raven against Team 8 or Gale Force Esports or Tempo Storm, how do you think that would work out?
It's really, really hard to tell. The gap in Korea between the top and everyone else is really, really significant. So because the top 3 teams in the world have always been from Korea, it's really easy to say Korea is the strongest region. But within the region, we don't actually know whether the weaker teams stand against NA or EU. I think, like, if we got to see Blossom fight against Tempo Storm, I think it would actually be really close. I'd probably still give it to Blossom in the end, but
wow,
maybe
no faith at all in NA.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard to know, and I think that gives, especially like in EU where Fnatic has shown that they can beat even MVP Black. I think it shows like some hope for EU and NA and CN.
Sure.
That we have these giants in KR, but the region is mortal.
Right, sure. So we'll go ahead and stick with KR real quick. And in Korea, who's qualifying for the mid-season brawl here?
I don't see anyone beating MVP Black. Tempest would be the closest ones who could give them a run, and Tempest has not been looking very good lately. They lost themselves third seed by kind of memeing too hard.
Sure. How about North America, Kurt? Who's going to the mid-season?
I think it's going to be Team 8. I think Gale Force is going to try to run a lot of Zagara on maps that aren't Braxis because it seems to be working for them on Braxis, and I don't think they've gotten away from it. Team 8 is just like, they're too good. Like, if you get them on a map where Glaurung can play like a Medivh or a Zeratul, like you're in trouble, like, period. Right. Especially on Zeratul. His Zeratul is pretty filthy. Right.
But that's what he's been known for years, right? Zeratul
he's been kind of a standout player on a with a small hero pool for a long time, but I feel like with the way the meta is now, you just can't ban everything against him, and I think the same is true for like ADRD in EU. I think, sure. Yeah. So I think I'm really looking for Team 8 to win. I want them to win, and I think they can do it.
So ADRD, you mentioned. And we're looking over you, Chris. Does ADRD have a chance to take an expert to the midseason brawl, or how do you?
Nope.
You don't think they even have a chance breaking in?
No, it's a dead even tie between Dignitas and Team Liquid, as I was saying earlier. I think Dignitas takes a slight edge because they do better under pressure. So I expect Dignitas to go to the midseason brawl with Fnatic. As much as I love Team Liquid with all my heart, I gotta give the edge to Fnatic.
All right. Well, not Fnatic. The edge to Dignitas.
Fnatic. Did I say Fnatic? Did I say Fnatic?
Oh, you did.
Gosh.
It's all good.
You know what I mean.
Anyways. So, we just kind of want to give everybody out there a different look at some content. We've been known for our writing, and we want to maybe try to dip into the video pool a little bit. We hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please let us know. And I mean, maybe we can do some more of this next phase. But until next time, let's go Liquid. Take it easy, guys.
Later.
Later.